If you have never had a Mama Goldberg sandwich in Alabama, I believe there are a few in Georgia as well up here, quick service restaurants for my Disney fans. Great sandwiches. So we're gonna stop in there and grab one of those on our way out of Montgomery, back on the road. Should be a few hours to Mariana, and then it is the few hours after that to St. George Island. So that's kind of what we have on the docket today. Got up, plenty of time, just taking our time the rest of the way down, which is why we kind of split it up. So we stopped here in Montgomery. East Chase is kind of the pavilion where a lot of these shops are. And again, I think Target has cornered the market in Tesla superchargers. It's gonna be bad. There's gonna be a lot more longer stops than I think I anticipated because of the Target, as you all know. We are gonna do a quick stop here, probably 10-15 minutes, and then grab something to eat on our way out. And then our next stop will be Mariana, Florida. So, and I believe I'm saying that right. Probably not. Floridians will definitely call me out if I'm not. So this charge will have one more charge before our final destination. Well, we just learned something we don't like, and that is the phantom braking. That's something that's been talked about a little bit, and I'm assuming, I don't know if it's just because we have a 2020 or if this is happening on a lot of Teslas, but we're not on a divided highway. We are on a divided highway, but it's not like 65 any longer. We've gotten off, but we're on kind of a side highway in Alabama. And what I've learned is that the phantom braking is pretty, it's pretty jolting. It happened quite a bit on this leg of the trip, and it says we're gonna have 7% when we get there. So we're a little bit nervous. We might end up stopping in Dothan for maybe 5 minutes. There is a supercharger there. So we might just duck in there for 5 minutes, get a quick charge so we know that we have enough. But we are getting a little nervous here after kind of the hills of Alabama, and then that phantom braking, which made us a little more nervous on the trip. But we're gonna stop in hopefully and see what this last leg looks like once we get a charge in, and we may have to stop really quick. So to give you an idea of what I mean, this 8%, and this has been changing, 5%, 6%, now 8%. I mean, even if I go here, so it does show up here as not a supercharger, but it says it adds 4 minutes to our trip on a better route planning app. So I'm wondering if this is another one of those situations where we just trust the app. We're gonna find out. We'll have to make a game time decision here in the next 20 minutes to kind of figure out what we want to do, if we want to press on and get it there with under 10%, or if we're gonna stop in here real quick. And I think there were a number of factors for that, which I'll go over when we stop for the next charge. Okay, so we made it. I'm a little anxious. The range anxiety is a real thing, especially if you've never done this before. And again, this is the first time. You can see I've probably been pulling at my hair as we're driving down. It was Highway 231. It's the highway between Montgomery and Mariana. Floridians can bury me in the comments. It feels like we've been driving for 6 hours. I'm constantly checking the percentage. We did not stop at Dothan. I decided that, hey, the car knows, right? Like, trust the technology. We arrived with 20 miles left at the supercharger station. I definitely was very careful going through some of the small cities and towns, lots of hills. Here's what happened. It's completely my fault. I think we accidentally we would stop at the Mama Goldbergs to eat before we would go to the supercharger, so it said 66%. We stopped at the supercharger, charged to 66%, and then went to Mama Goldberg's. So we were kind of driving around a little bit before we nailed down that range. And we got here with 7%. It says 7%, 20 miles left. When you get under 10%, you do get the manual climate control, AC off, those types of things. So we didn't have any issues. No one was uncomfortable. We did make it with range. It wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought it would be. Once we got on to I-10, it was like, oh, okay, we're gonna make it. You feel a little bit more comfortable. But man, that was a nerve-wracking 75, 80 miles from where we stopped at that rest area where I gave you the last update. I'm gonna plug in now. It says 15 minutes, but I'm gonna let it fill up because I want a decent amount of charge when we get to the island. So we might stay 20, 25 minutes here. So I'm confident we got here just in time. There are 4 Teslas waiting to charge, and ours still has probably another 30 minutes. But yeah, there is definitely a line. People are parked waiting to charge. And it's going pretty slow. So slower than normal. Like I said, normally these are like 15 to 30 minute charges. This one's looking to be about 45 minutes, maybe an hour to get to 90%. So we'll see, but there's definitely a line of folks waiting, which is interesting. So just in time. All right, so we're getting ready to disconnect and kind of finish up our trip here, the last leg before we actually reach our destination. We stayed about 20 extra minutes on top of what we may have needed for about a total of about 35 minutes. So honestly, we only needed probably 15, 20 minutes to get to the destination. I wanted a little bit of overhead when we got there, that we weren't worried looking for a charging station or having to plug into the house all of the time when we're there. So we're gonna disconnect and finish up, but we're out of here. Again, more Teslas waiting. It's time for me to let them have a spot. 296 miles when it's all said and done, and we got about 90 left. So after all of the excitement of arriving to our beach house here in Florida, I realized that I never really filmed an outro of this video. So just to give you a quick recap, we did get to our destination with a little over 45%. We had plenty of charge from our last stop there in Marianna, Florida to here. It's been a good experience. We've had a number of opportunities to charge. There is a 12-volt regular outlet here, and we have the wall connector that's provided by Motor. That is a very slow charge. You're probably only putting in 4 to 5 miles per hour into the car. And I had realized, because we had been stopping to charge, the car was getting really hot, obviously sitting, you know, on the charger in 100-degree heats in Alabama and Georgia, kind of those last fews that I went in and set the climate control to turn on if the cabin got to a certain temperature, and that eats battery. And it was still that way here in Florida. So as it got warm here on the beach, the car would occasionally turn on and eat battery because it's trying to cool the cabin. I realized that about halfway through the week. So we turned that off, and since have had, you know, really good results plugging in each day, gaining overnight anywhere between 20 and 30% of battery. The experience has been great. I think we'll be a little bit more diligent. On the way down, we were taking our time. We knew we were going to stop. Be a little bit more diligent, I think, on using a better route planner and saying, okay, we're only going to stop here for 20 minutes. We're only going to stop here for 10 minutes. Okay, we're only going to get it to 56% instead of trying to stretch that charge out. When we're finished with part 1 and part 2, we'll do a recap video of our experience, what the trip was like, as well as kind of the breakdowns of time, cost, so that we can give everyone here just a real honest recap of what that trip looks like for at least our family of 3 in this MotorEV subscription-based model car that we're just renting for the month to take these road trips.